Oh, he knew about everything. Everything had to go through Mr. Trump, and it had to be approved by Mr. Trump.
Michael Cohen, that was the last time he testified under oath. It was 2019, but we had the footage because it was Congress. Today, we have the experts. We have the words. We're going to get into all of it. We have the sketches. We don't have video under the rules of New York courts, but we are joined by people who know the situation well. Former SDNY prosecutor Christy Greenberg, who was inside the courtroom today, and Vanity Fair correspondent Molly Jong-Fast. Welcome to both of you. Starting, Christy, with what it felt like in court. We went through a lot of the key takeaways. What did it feel like in the room?
It's even though we've heard a lot of this evidence before, just being reported in the news, the Access Hollywood tape, the recording that you mentioned, hearing it in that context in the examination of Michael Cohen, hearing his own words, it did feel different. It felt momentous. And there were some really bombshell moments. That moment where they're talking about the Access Hollywood tape and Michael Cohen says, oh, this locker room talk spin, that came from Melania. That was something I hadn't heard before. And I'm thinking, is that really something that Melania would have said? And then when they were talking about the Stormy Daniels payment and delaying that payment, the reasons for it, the fact that it was not, that he wasn't willing to make that payment if it was for anything other than the campaign was just striking. I mean, it's $130,000. He's a self-purported billionaire, and he's not willing to spend $130,000 to save his marriage. And that's what the testimony was today, that, you know, if it's not before the election, then I don't really care. So that was really striking. It made me think he's so worried that this would have been a disaster if it had come out before the election because it would hurt these female voters' opinions of him. Well, right now he needs to be thinking about those 5 women on the jury, because I'm sure they don't have a very high opinion of him right now.
Yeah, I mean, female voters are the key here, and he needs to get, you know, he is running again for president. So I do think this is all really meaningful. There's been some, like, punditry that's, you know, people saying, well, it's not going to matter, it's not going to matter. But I actually think it does matter, and it's permeating those local news stations, and a lot of people are getting their news from local news.
He says, according to Cohen, and as I've emphasized, there's real risk and punishment if he was just wantonly perjuring himself in such a high-profile case. You can speak to that. And again, we'll cover the cross when they deal with credibility. So I say that to give people the perspective of what we're getting. This is not a direct quote. It's a Cohen quote. Having said that, he says under oath that Trump said, quote, women are going to hate me. This really is a disaster. Women will hate me. Guys, they think it's cool, but this is going to be a disaster for the campaign, end quote. Give us the context of when Cohen was saying that. Why is it relevant legally? And if you want, what it means that the jury is looking at him saying, OK, is he telling the truth or not?
Yeah, so this came up right before the lunch break, and it was this moment. We had been going through a lot of documents back and forth and kind of getting into the minutia of those. And then this was a moment where there was no document. It's just tell us what you and Trump talked about. Tell us about these conversations. And it really was a moment where he was able to say in Donald Trump's own words, like you could almost hear Donald Trump saying it was a disaster. Like, I mean, it sounded like Trump. And so those statements, I think, were just incredibly meaningful. And why it matters legally is, as you said, in order to convert this falsified business records from a misdemeanor to a felony, have to be able to show that there was an intent to unlawfully influence the election, and that that's what this payment was about, not about protecting his family, but about protecting his campaign chances so that he could be elected. And so I think, you know, when it was put that starkly in the conversation of it's totally irrelevant if I'm not president, and then if I am president, I really don't care. Like it was just so stark, and it really it had an impact.
And Molly, when you think about what the jury's hearing, again, this isn't supposed to be a case about quote unquote morals. Right. This is not a proceeding involving, for example, an allegation regarding a sexual battery. Right. It's not a custody proceeding for children where you can actually bring in more evidence of someone's conduct that way. This is really about, did you lie about it? Right. And was it about the campaign? And so to Christy's point, people can come up with, and the jury may in deliberations discuss what the multiple motivations were for Donald Trump, right? For example, he could argue that, well, as a reality TV show celebrity with a, shall we say, uproarious and at times messy personal life, he felt that he could explain things to Melania with or without an NDA. That to Melania, he could explain it. Right. Here they go again.
Right.
It's still not true. The fact that it was printed wherever it was printed doesn't matter. Right. That's different than losing a voting bloc that he already was struggling with. How do you think the jurors will use what they have to use, which is their common sense? I'm asking you as an informed person, but not as a lawyer. The jurors are instructed not to do a lot of legal analysis, but to find the facts.
Yeah, and look, those 5 women have sat through Stormy Daniels' description, and that was pretty horrifying. I think that the defense made a mistake there by allowing all of that in the testimony. And, you know, Michael Cohen is not some random guy. Trump had him in his ecosystem for years and years and years, and he was his most trusted advisor. So if he maligns Michael Cohen, he's maligning his own judgment, right? This speaks as much about Trump as it does about Michael Cohen.
It almost feels like you're saying when you diss Dre, you diss yourself.
Yes, obviously.
I don't know if you remember that line.
Yes.
Yeah.
How could I not?
Diss tracks back in the news, actually. Right. But I say that only partially comedically, because the point you're making is valid, which is if this person is an extension of you and legally at the time was doing your bidding at the direction of, that's a very clear thing the jury's going to decide. Christy, it's either he did it for you or he went completely rogue, right? And if someone does go completely rogue, right, if Molly has an accountant, and let's stipulate for the sake of argument, you don't do crack, but your accountant buys crack and then comes back and accuses you of it, and people say, well, it was your accountant, and we say, well, there's nothing tying you to that other than that you had a business relationship. That's not enough. But if the accountant, or in this case, I'll switch back to the lawyer, Cohen says Trump did direct it, and it was planned, and here is the tape. That's a lot. As for the corroboration, we spoke to Lanny Davis's advisor, I should say Cohen's advisor, Lanny Davis. Many people know. Here's what he told us. What other witness or witnesses do you think will most clearly corroborate his testimony?
I was in the room with Michael for almost 2 years while the prosecutors were preparing this case. I can tell you that there is another major crime that Michael was forced to plead guilty to, even though he really had nothing to do with it other than papering it. And that involved the National Enquirer and somebody named David Pecker.
How important is it that the jury has a very clear understanding, even before closing arguments, what the other crime was?
I think it's really important. I mean, Michael Cohen has been pre-corroborated by so many of these other witnesses, showing that this was at the direction of Donald Trump.